Some of you guys might not know me or know anything about me, but I served for almost 4.5 years in the United States Army, infantry, and also got out and got socked right back in again for Operation Desert Storm. So I'm in the process of growing my hair back. Which brings me to my point. Wednesday was Veterans Day. Now, a lot of you young guys and girls don't quite grasp what Veterans Day means. To guys who are vets, not veterinarians, but veterans, it means a lot to us, okay? If you know somebody who's a vet and they served World War II, Vietnam, Korea, Desert Storm, man, go up and give them a hug, man. Tell them you appreciate it. One thing I learned in the military is, well, I was a hard strike corporal, non-commissioned officer. I was an anti-tank section leader, and I had 2 squads under me. Yeah, dragons. There's somebody who knows what I'm talking about. One thing I learned, you take a certain pride in making sure you do the best job you can do as a leader. Okay? The reason I was doing the best job I could do as a leader to them was because of the fact that if I didn't do my job correctly, they would go into combat and they'd get killed or they'd get me killed. Okay? And that's uncool. In the same way, we're up here teaching you the same way. I'm teaching you with that same aggressiveness. I'll tell you what, you talk to my wife sometime, she used to come pick me up from work and I'd have a whole platoon doing push-ups or other such exercises, and she'd come and go, "They're mean. Oh man, look at them guys sweating like crazy and stuff." And I'm standing over and going, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 900, you know. And but I'll tell you what, you gotta be stern and you gotta be forceful and you gotta be aggressive, or else they're gonna say, "Yeah, okay, we hear you, but we're not gonna do it." And in the same way, we as leaders here in this ministry, and not just us guys in the band, man, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that work for LightShine. There's guys with LightShine tags and stuff. You go up and talk to any one of them guys, man. They're on fire for the Lord, and they're just psyched out to do this stuff for you guys. And what I'm going to challenge you to do tonight is us as a leader are training you, just like the Army NCO does to train his privates. He makes sure that when they go into combat, they're not going to get killed. And they're not going to kill you with them. And that's what we're here to do to you. Okay? In the same way, I'm talking in a spiritual sense. Okay? Not literally combat. Okay? We won't drag you into combat. You know. But a spiritual war, however, I mean, what we're trying to do here is encourage you to do the best job you can do, so you can do what we're doing someday. And not maybe in the same way, but you can go out this door and see somebody walking down the street who you've never met before and walk up and say, "Hey man, do you know what Jesus Christ did for you on the cross?" And I want to encourage you tonight to do that. If my wife could do me a favor and bring Charlie up here, and maybe if Christian wants to come up here. Some of you guys were at the show where I brought Charlie up on stage. You all remember that little long-haired kid? Well, he's getting bigger. I'll tell you what though, the kids in this ministry, when they get older, I'll tell you what, when we get old and we get out of this, these guys are going to continue. All right. I'll tell you what, I was up at my mother and father-in-law's, and my brother-in-law Tim, now Tim used to play in Sardonyx before we ever even put out a tape or anything, and I'll tell you what, he's an awesome guitar player, and he's got a little boy and a little girl. And we sit down to have dinner, and well, my father-in-law is Italian, and my mother-in-law is British, and mealtime is a big deal. We all sit down, and it's so neat because all the kids sit at this little table, you know, one of the little kiddie tables. They're all sitting over there going, "I want to pray. No, it's my turn to pray. Come on, it's my turn." Man, How many of you guys are sitting there going, oh, I wish somebody else would pray. I don't feel like praying. I'm telling you what, you should take some advice from the kids and the little kids. But man, I can see it already. Charlie takes all my wife's pots and pans and all her spoons and silverware, and I'll dig in the drawer to maybe make some chocolate milk, and long spoons, and I'll dig it out, and the end of it's like a bent, looks like one of them Australian hats, that they wear. But but he sits there and he beats on drums, and he wants to be a drummer, and he says to me one time, he goes, Dad, when I get in a band, he goes, I'm going to make sure that it's a Christian band, And now this kid's 6 years old, And there's some of you out there today who are believers, but you're walking on a thin line sort of thing. You're like, well, I believe that Jesus is God, but I don't know if I want to give you my 100%. And I'm telling you what, when I sign autographs, a lot of times I write, give God 110% because He gave you so much more. Man, John 3:16 tells it. God so loved the world that He gave His only Son. Man, do you think I would give up my boys for a bunch of people who I know hate my guts? Never. I'll tell you right now. It would be really hard for me. But God did, man. He gave His Son so that we, us and you, could spend eternity with Him. I just want to challenge you, man. Be bold for Christ. Get out there. Don't just be wishy-washy about it, man. When somebody asks you a question about God, don't just say, well, I'll have to get back to you, man. Be studying beforehand. Don't wait until the last minute. Study beforehand to show yourself approved unto God. I just want to challenge you with that, man. When you get out of here tonight, man, the way you're feeling now, you should feel tomorrow morning when you get up. You should take it to church with you, man. You should tell somebody on the street, anywhere you see. Cool? All right, we're going to play some more.